Welcome to Unbiased and On the Fence. I'm Shane, and I looked down and we're getting everything ready. I had to reboot and stuff. I saw it was 222. I said, hey, it's time. It's time we start this up. And I do have to unmute you. Okay, I did that. Welcome, Michelle. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. A little dizzy, a little spinny, a little topsy-turvy as far as sleeping schedules go. But feeling pretty electrified, pretty excited. So yeah, lots to talk about today. I think lots to talk about today. So it's going to be a fun one.
Now, I was looking at the Schumann resonance, and it had really quieted down, like for a day or two, where it wasn't. Let me pull this up and so I can show everybody before I switch the view here.
Yeah, but I think right on the 20th.
Yeah.
Right.
And then boom,
it just
back up.
Yep. You know, and like I was saying just before we came on, these dates, October 20th, 22nd, 23rd, have stood out in my mind since back in the spring. It's like I've been waiting for these dates, knowing that the energy coming in at this time was going to be really powerful. And I've definitely been feeling it.
That's so wild to see how it was so quiet, and now we're getting these bursts again that are powerful. Now, like I was talking to Alexander yesterday, it's flip-flop for me. It used to be that I would feel really heavy when I would see the Schumann really going off the charts, but now it's like just the opposite. I feel really heavy and tired when it's not off the charts.
Yes, so, I agree. I heard you say that. Yeah, like I said, from what I can remember when I was listening at 2 o'clock in the morning. But on fast forward. But yeah, I absolutely agree. The other thing I want to mention with that is a buoyancy. Like I feel sometimes like a helium balloon. So, you know, we had mentioned a couple months ago starting to feel this gravity lift or feeling much lighter. And that is another thing that I would add to what you're saying is, and I can just feel it actually even talking about it. It's like, I feel so much lighter. I feel lighter on my feet. My legs feel lighter. My bones don't feel so heavy. And when we have gone from such and sometimes very rapid shifts between that heavy feeling, right? Where all of a sudden my bones are made of lead. I just got to go lie down. I just, I can't even hold myself up right now. I just need to rest my body. And it's definitely, I very rarely experience that heavy feeling anymore. If I do, it's just I'm so aware of even feeling the energy coming in at that time that it's just go lie down for a little bit. I'm practicing meditation and self-hypnosis several times a day, so this is just fine-tuning this awareness of feeling this energy, sensing what's going on, and then being aware of what it is I'm going to be doing with that energy. I think that he brought this up too, which is another really good point, is that awareness throughout the day of intention of what is going on, and then allowing that to be integrated in conscious awareness then saves you additional work at night in your dream state. I would wholeheartedly agree with that. My dreams now are a lot of fun. I am running around with people, and again, I've heard this from others as well, so I want to mention this. This is people that are not in my daily life or have been, but these people I repeatedly am with. I don't know who they are, but they are consistently in my dreams, and what we're doing is traveling, closing up shop, packing things up, moving things, going to a different destination, often through means of travel that are unique, not what we experience here. There's access to different modes of transportation at greater distances that sometimes may appear as an amalgamation of modes of transportation that we have now, but not the same. What else can I explain? But there is a deep feeling of camaraderie, of friendship, of real knowing with these people. There's a lot of laughing and there's a lot of fun, and really feels like tying up some loose ends and getting things going and moving on to the next destination. So I'm really feeling like a stage 2 has completed. And this is now into this third trimester, you know, like we talked about, and these are the processes that are going on. So I'm rather enjoying my sleep time, and I'm having a lot of fun with these people that I seem to love and know very, very well, but don't seem to be around me in my existence during the day, but are certainly there prevalently every time I choose to go to sleep.
Let me ask you this. Do you think it's possible that they look like they did in your previous life, or?
Yes, I think that sometimes that's what's appearing to me. I think that these people, I don't even know if they're necessarily that soul essence is not actually appearing to me the same way even. I couldn't even tell you that because the faces aren't familiar. So there is the possibility that these people are presenting themselves to me in dreams in forms from previous lives. And that may even be changing. But the internal feeling of knowing these people is what remains the same, and a lot of similarities to the interactions and things that we are doing is the same. There's a lightness in the relationships that does not have a neediness to it. There's a working together, but not having to, how do I say? Someone is not necessarily having to carry my burdens while I struggle. I'm not necessarily having to carry somebody else's burdens while they struggle. It's like we all know what we're doing and we're getting about our business. So, yeah. I think that's
so the reason I ask you that they might look different then is because could it be people from this life that you know and recognize, but they just look different? Or do you just have a knowing that it's
that was that phase phased out in September. That was what I went through, and when I was closing out previous lives with Angie, and I was doing a lot of healing. You know, we did like in between the week, between the Tuesday to the Tuesday, we spent a lot of time together going through these different past lives. Those came up then, and those faces would change. And I did recognize at the time that those were closing out scenarios for the various experiences or situations I had with the same people through different life experiences. So I was able to recognize through the healing process that I did with her. I would go through closing out scenarios that evening. We would go on to the next one, and then I would close out those scenarios. So no, I do feel that this is different. This is different from that, and that these are not, there may be a couple, there may be one or two that do come back, but predominantly, you know, really like the majority, I would say, no, these are not interactions at the current time.
Okay. Well, speaking of Angie Dollar, she's going to be on Monday, the 29th.
Oh, awesome.
So looking forward to having her on. But how many people would you say are there? Like, you know, when you're, I mean, are we talking like a dozen people or like 100?
Predominantly, the smaller group seems to be about 6, right? As it's continued to be. But this as well, now I am seeing interaction between maybe, it could be a dozen then, because it could be the 6 of my group and a 6 of a closer connection as well in different points. So there seems to be a closing up of things and moving. And then in that movement, coming across these other groups, and I think typically a half dozen at a time, maybe doing something with them through this travel process, and then almost grouping together and then traveling on greater distances. It's like it's not a subway. There's something about like a train or fast track transportation, tunnel wise, that has similarities to it. But so it seems to be going these large distances, meeting up with these other groups and maybe joining them and then carrying on from there and then meeting other groups. So that's what I'm seeing happening.
Very interesting. So as far as settings, they change, and it's not always at the same place. You're like traveling around, and does it seem like you're on Earth in these dreams?
Yes. Or like a template of Earth. Not,
maybe
it's not exactly
of...
the same as I see here, but right. There's there's a dimensional. If you ever watch Fringe, there's things that are different. This mode of transportation was different. There was some slight differences to layouts of city, but there's similarities to what I see now. But the terrain is not mappable to
our current reality, right? Yeah. Is it? Would you say it's more beautiful, less beautiful, the same as far as just the beauty and the feel of it?
No, it still seems to feel it's fourth dimensional. Yeah, because the 3D aspects are present in the foundations of being a city, of being cement, of being buildings, of being those things. There's it's got to be a recognition, I think, of doing work fourth dimensionally. It really is. It's not 5D yet, but it's like cleaning up house with the people that I work with in 4D. I think that there's an awareness that this is what we are doing, that it's not necessarily that I'm traveling around in my mindset, like on the same reality as this current one. I think that there really is an awareness actually within the group, within myself, and with what is going on, that this work is being done fourth dimensionally, that plane and the way that things work is not necessarily the same as here. I believe that there is an awareness to that, and that the work we are doing outside of this. I believe that I am having lucid awareness to that fact now, and this is one of the big differences as well. And with these people, there's a lucid awareness to what is going on, that this work is being done fourth dimensionally.
Interesting. We have people chiming in the chat saying they love Fringe or whatever. And, that was one of the things when I heard about the Statue of Liberty being on Liberty Island. I remember thinking, I would think they said that in Fringe way back, and that it was on Liberty Island, because I thought it was weird, and I thought it was something that they just did on Fringe, because of the whole... I'd never heard of Liberty Island until just recently. Yeah. For me, it was always Ellis Island.
And the Nazis tried to get, into the... What?
Yeah. And, you can't get into the torch.
How Fringe is that?
Yeah, really.
Right? Yeah, it is. That was a great show. I really enjoyed that show when it was out. I watched it for a few seasons. So,
isn't it strange, though, that they're the way they passed from one reality to the parallel reality was through a Mandela-affected monument? I mean, if you think about that, that's kind of trippy, isn't it? Yeah. Because it's sort of that same thing, they went through, they would come out on the other side, and it would be different, and what are the chances, Maybe
I like the idea of the tank, too. What do they call it? Where it takes away all your senses, right? Because you're floating in high salt content water, and it's dark, there's no sound, it removes all stimulation, which then allows you to go deep within the mind. That's been in other movies before too. I can't remember, there was one years ago, I think it was in the 80s, that had to do with that, and LSD in a non-sensory state, and where it takes the mind. So
Yeah,
that
I think I
concept
saw that.
is, yeah.
Maybe somebody can chime in with the name because it's totally eluding me. So, but yeah, I think I saw that. Let's see, sensory deprivation tank.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. But there's a movie that involved whatever you're talking about, with like experiments or something.
Yeah, I can't remember. It was dark. Yeah, I mean, it was a long time ago, but
It's like one of those synchronistic things. You're like, it's dark, and I look down and see Pretty Dark is typing something.
hi, pretty dark.
Isn't it strange the way that happens?
Yeah, always. I know the times again. It's funny how when I'll start, because always, and I'm sure all of us do, and even though I spend so much awareness in my day of accepting and focusing on what I believe is true, what my intentions are in this process, those seeds of doubt will always sort of creep in. And
oh, Altered States, is that the name of the movie, Magic Sister? Does that sound familiar? Altered
yeah,
States?
probably. Yes, I think
Okay.
so.
That
Yeah.
would totally be a name I wouldn't remember if it's.
Yeah. And it had hints of that MK Ultra
Was it
and
old? Yeah, it was about
yeah, early
government.
80s.
Oh, okay. That's probably why.
Yeah, I think early 80s.
That's probably way back when that was so sci-fi to me that I just thought, that's impossible. That's
Yeah.
ridiculous. But not
See,
anymore.
that was my thing back then, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
hmm
Okay, so we have some activity that we want to talk about on Mars. Let me pull
Yeah.
this image up here because this is pretty interesting that, let me make it big, that we have a big plume of smoke, steam, cloud, whatever you want to call it, coming out of
Volcano on
yeah,
Mars.
Arcia Mons Volcano.
hmm
Now, I don't
But
know,
there's other NASA pictures that do not show it. So you've got pictures coming up from one satellite that show it, and then others that show nothing. So I think wow, that's a big hint that NASA is, I think, hitting the replay button
right, trying
on
to
old
hide it.
video. And yeah, we should talk about the moon as well. There's been a lot of talk about China and the launching of their moon simulator idea, which
Yeah,
I think shows you that, well, so it's already up there then.
it does make you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah, because there has been a lot of talk about that.
Now, I do want to point out that NASA has responded to this, and they say, "Oh, it's not erupting. It's quiet. It's still cold there. These are just."
It wasn't
clouds
NASA that
forming."
responded, though, I don't think. It was just one woman that tweeted. I don't know that it was an official NASA response. In fact, NASA has not officially responded to it. That's part of the problem. Somebody piped up and said, "Oh, it's ice clouds."
Well, this article from CNET is saying NASA scientists confirms
Okay.
Mars volcano isn't smoking hot, is what it says.
I'm questioning, though, if she works for NASA, great. I believe it was a tweet. But did NASA really officially come out with an article and actually address the situation? I'm not sure if they have yet or not. That's the only thing that I would point out. I know that this woman addressed it in tweet, and it says NASA scientist. But is that an official comment from NASA?
Right.
Not
I'm trying to
really.
see if they link back to the official, or wherever. Let's see. The source was CNET.
That's the thing. Just double check source.
Yeah. Let me just pull it up really fast and see what CNET is saying. And I don't even know that you can trust CNET, to be honest with you.
Only thing you can is right in here.
Right.
You know what? And that's it. I think it'll sound silly to other people, but for us, I think that our intuitions show us physically when things pique our attention or get our attention. And I think that we're fortunate enough to have an awareness, in some sorts giving you the goosebumps or makes you feel a certain way, becoming more aware of tuning into that, because you cannot count on the reports or
And it's enormous.
statements.
This when you look at this picture here, That's
Massive.
270 miles in diameter and 12 miles high. So even if it's not like, so you can see the
what's important to mention as well, Shane. Oh, you still there? You cut. You froze.
The plume coming out of it doesn't start for quite a while. That was one of the things that made me doubt that it was like smoke coming out of it. But when I look at the fact that it is affecting it, I mean, it's 12 miles high, so could it be affecting it because of the altitude of it? Or is it heating up and we have, like, you know, it's causing condensation to form above it? So I don't know. I'm on the fence about it, because if you think, if this whole thing is nearly 300 miles, that means this thing stretches for 2,000 miles across the surface.
Yes.
That's ridiculous. You know what I mean?
What I want to remind you about is that we are in that alignment again.
Oh, I didn't know that. I guess, what is it, Mercury?
We're in that 180 alignment again.
Oh, so Mercury swung around, it's back on the other side, and now all of us are on
so we had it, we're into it already, but I know that it was about 50 days again that we were going to, or 52, whatever it was, that we are again in that alignment that we were in the summer. This is why I think it's a little bit more interesting to mention it as well, to make sure that we're aware that this alignment, what happened in the summer when we had the alignment was there was a dust storm that covered the entire planet of Mars.
Exactly.
So it's important to note. Yeah. I don't know that it's a volcano. I'm not standing on Mars, but
yeah. Well, we know it's for sure a volcano. We just don't know if it's erupting or if it's just getting hot underneath, causing these clouds to start forming, or what. But when we look at other things like Venus in our solar system, and it's like so many times brighter than it used to be. I mean, it's so freaking bright in the nighttime sky after the sun goes down, and you just see it there. You're like, what the heck is that? I mean, it can almost look like an airplane flying right at you with the light shining right at you, and then it doesn't move, and you're like, oh my God, that's a planet.
Well, I think that even we only have to look at what is going, you know, if you do follow any of the space weather news and you look at the energy that is coming and going, basically being conduited through us right now is absolutely enormous. It's showing up everywhere. So it's not one thing, and that's where it tips the scales, because you have to look what's going on, you know, not just on that one spot on Mars, but what is going on with all the other planets around us, with our own planet. Well, there is stuff going on. So is it really that far of a stretch then? I don't think so much so. If it was just that one instance, then, you know, it's easy to brush off. But I don't think it's anything to brush off. I think we should be noting what is going on the planets around us, and be recognizing that these energy exchanges and changes are going on very rapidly here as well. That expulsion of that energy is just a constant flow now. When you watch the magnetosphere, you're just having this constant waves of energy hitting us. I didn't make videos whenever I see weird things. I've got so many of them now. But so that's another one I'm going to be putting together with a bunch of the sky pictures that I've got, and the energy that's coming in, and showing how the changes are. I have been able to track it picking up in frequency, picking up in that release of that water balloon energy that we've talked about, and it continues to do so. So I find it odd that they keep changing the time length of the movies on the magnetosphere. It creates an illusion that the pace is the same when it's not. So I've had to become very aware of actually what's going on with the time clock and the time stamps, because it changes the perspective of what you're viewing. And it's kind of a tricky move. I'm not sure if it's something they're doing on purpose or it's just a normal thing, but
yeah, that's why it's just kind of like there's people that's like everything is CGI that comes from there. It's like, why would they create CGI? This is just a question. I don't know. Maybe they did, but I'm just saying, why would they create CGI and then hide frames of what they created if that's if it was just generated to begin with? That I don't know.
Say the word on your show, but just a brains, right?
It just makes you wonder.
Mess with them a little more.
It's like back and forth and back and forth. It's like we created this fake stuff. We created some anomalies. Now we're going to take out frames to hide these anomalies that we didn't want you to see to begin with. Why did we create them? I don't know. These are just logical questions I ask myself.
Well, they do like to muddy the waters. It's
totally
important to realize that they do, and they like to. But I think one of the great keys is projection is a great deciphering key. You know, this is what I want to focus on a little bit more. I put out some introductory videos, but I want to start, you know, because I mentioned I have an eye for foreshadowing. So I want to start to mention the keys that people can see and look for. And it's not about the political arena. It's really not. It's about seeing behind the picture and seeing, you know, in a larger way what is going on. It's not an easy two worlds to bring together. It's really not. And there's a lot of resistance and reaction. I found from both sides, trying to see that the connections and that everything is connected, and what seems like 3D and 4D and 5D, the resistance to seeing the connections there can be frustrating at times, but I'm persevering. I know that's, you know, what I'm here to do. So, and that's why actually Sherry's going to be on with me tonight from Overprotected, 7:30 Central Standard Time, because she's going to be helping me to explain some deeper reasons and meanings that we both share behind the work that I'm doing here and why I'm doing it. And it's not about the political landscape, although it can appear to be that sometimes. But the picture will get broader and broader the better I get at making my videos and the quicker I get information out. So I'm just going to continue to do it and show the connections that I can, no matter the adversity, and hopefully that puzzle will come together a lot more cleanly for people.
Oh, your mom, Catherine Hutton, for those who don't know in the chat, is saying, please tell Michelle that 2 days ago I had ringing in my ears that was almost unbearable, but today absolutely nothing. Something has changed. And I know a lot of people feel that the ringing is indicative of a shift in our reality.
Yes.
So
it's a frequency, you're picking up on that frequency pickup. So, you know what, just a quick point out, I have been, because of the 5G talk, and interference, again, awareness and attention of how powerful we are. And if you're concerned about that in any way and thinking that it could be any negative effects, don't be afraid. Set the attention every day. I do with my angelic guidance, as far as being sure that the frequencies I am receiving, taking in, and interacting with are to my highest benefit. And I do feel the help from that and doing that practice in awareness. So that can help reduce some negative feedback you're always getting in your ears. But it is to be noted, absolutely, my ears are always going, both ears, all the time. And I'm used to it. I've gotten used to it. I do have to put on like binary beats or something at night to go to sleep, or it can be pretty overpowering. But it's a big tip now to pay attention to what is going on. If you find that your ears are picking up in pitch like that, you know what? Even just do a simple go, okay, maybe this is time I just stop and be aware of my breathing. Set an intention. So, you know, let it help to prod you into time and set that intention, like we talked about earlier. So then less work that you have to do at night, right?
Exactly. You cut out for a little piece, but I think you were basically saying it pulls you back to what, the now? Yeah,
use it as another tool.
Yeah.
Use it as another tool to pull it, just like the numbers, just like everything, to go, just even take a moment and breathe, and breathe and understand the experience that you're in at that time. And I think it will propel things for you.
I think it almost naturally happens when you get the ringing or or a synchronistic thing happens to you. The that's one of the benefits of it. No matter what kind of weird stuff it is, it brings you back to now for sure. You know, it's
muscle twitches. Sorry to cut that off and throw you. I wanted to mention this one is another one. Muscle spasms and twitches.
Have you been getting them? Like
yes,
like around your eyes or everywhere, or
different places. The eyes was earlier when I had the activations back in the summer. I did receive that. I'm not getting the facial twitches so much anymore, but I will get twitches and twinges in different parts of my body. I do think that they are sometimes, because when I'm noticing that it is in a meditative state where I'm going deeper and listening for the information, I find that there's a physical response in the body that allows me, it's like a twitch, pinch to say, you pay attention, you're on the right track. That thought, like when you hit the nail on the hammer on the nail, there it is, twitch, pinch. So just another thing to be aware of, that I think that there's, I almost feel like when we are allowing our higher self to fit into this form, there's definitely transition with that, because I'm doing self-hypnosis every day, bringing the higher self in. That is really when I start to feel twitches and everything throughout the body as well. So I think an awareness to that it's almost like our higher self coming in and putting this body on, you know, and yeah. And I feel like it's twitching and resting.
Sometimes it can feel like someone taps on you when that happens. It's like tap. You're like,
yeah, yeah, and it literally is. So, and I think your reaction is perfect. Understanding that's what it is perfect. It's that awareness, and again, it's bringing back to the now. And I think it really is our higher self, more and more being brought in, because this is what we're being stretched out for, to make room for this gigantic higher sovereign self that we are, to come in here and inhabit this and work to our higher benefit. And I feel like it's like, you know, getting comfortable in the skin, and that's kind of when we can feel those sensations. I also feel a lot of electrical currents, so you may be experiencing, especially over the last few days or the last week, zippity doodah sensations. You know, you'll feel vibrations up through your feet, going up through your leg. You'll feel vibrations different parts of your body, and you may stop sensations like that too.
So you said vibrations coming up through your body, and then what? It cut out once again.
Oh, like it can surprise you. Like I sometimes I'm like, what is my phone? Is that my phone vibrating? Or so yeah, I definitely feeling sensations up through the feet when the energy really kicks in. I'm noticing the connection with the ear pitch going up. I'll start to feel sensations of energy, vibration going up through my feet. And then that's, you know, you can get like, woo, right. A little zippy and a little twingy. So those things are going on, but it definitely is. There's sometimes some sensations coming in, some vibrations, some energy movement going on in different parts of my body, where it's like, is something touching me? Is something like, I'm not even realizing, like I'll think, oh, that's my phone, but then there's no phone there.
Right. Yeah. I've had that for a while, that the phantom phone vibrating. I think all the way back since I had a vibrating pager or whatever. So I would think, oh, is that my pager? And then I wouldn't be wearing it.
Your ghost pager.
Catherine Hutton is saying, what about chills or shivers? Yes. Even when you are warm, has anybody been experiencing that?
Yes, that's a common symptom, Mom. Yeah. Yes, definitely right now. I imagine that there's a lot of people experiencing that. Those shivers and everything, that is, and Aluna mentioned it as well. It's good to point out that, because she's so on the money, baby. Love that, Aluna. And she pointed that out too. You get, with this energy coming in, and I've been aware of it, the shivers. What I am getting with this energy coming in, especially picking up over the last few days, is vibration in my teeth. Sometimes it's like chomping on metal, like, and I can feel it through the roof of my mouth. I can feel the vibration going up through the roof of my mouth. I'm feeling the vibration in the center of my chest. Sometimes it's getting so strong now, especially when I come out of self-hypnosis. My vision is twitchy. This is going to be a tricky one to explain. because
So
it's
it's like your eyes jump a little bit and everything's like bloop, bloop, like that, or is it?
There's a combination of sensations going on, and this is why, again, I feel like it. So I'm going to do my best to sort of it's like different things going on, but it's all going on at the same time. So sometimes it feels like the vision is a mesh of the shimmering wave, like if you were looking at a hot pavement in the summer, and the vision changes. So I will have aspects of what I'm looking at that are doing that, but then I will have aspects of what I'm looking at that seem more linear, or there's pixelated, so there's static, but then there's also sometimes it's okay, because there's a shimmer, but then there's also a sensation of like image jumping. Like a
so
twitch.
It feels more like it's created by in your mind rather than your eyes twitched.
There seems to be an awareness of 2 or 3 kinds of sensory illusions showing themselves.
I see.
Is it the awareness of seeing the matrix in a sense and how it works? I'm feeling. Because I am sensing in third eye seeing, this is definitely picked up for me, especially again with the meditation and self-hypnosis, because I can self-hypnosis with meditation with my eyes open without blinking for extreme extended periods of time. And when I do this, all of a sudden the illusion dissipates. There's a different sense of spatial alignment. There's a lot of things going on. So I could possibly be this sensory awareness or breakdown of how we perceive the images in front of us in the 3D. It's the breakdown of the 3D matrix. And I think the awareness of seeing the illusion or seeing the twitches, or could be seeing the breakdown, possibly. But it happens more during
meditation, though.
Afterwards, because when I'm in meditation, I'm right in here. If I'm doing meditation self-hypnosis with my eyes open, where I'm fixated on one point, then I go back into the mind. My eyes actually stay open, and I'm perceiving many levels visually at one time when I do this process. So it's like staging. At one point I can see the physical aspect, but then that becomes very loose, and then I start to become awareness of a different spatial existence within myself and without of myself. It's hard to explain. It's really the best way I can do it. But I find that if I'm come out of a session, just a regular session, and just go about my business, like go to watch something on a screen, or go step outside and look outside, the images, the sensory information, there's a shifting to it and there's a movement to it. And it's not just one thing. There's a variety of things that I kind of see going on. There's a warbling going on that is unusual.
Warbling. That's a good word for that. Yeah, and that sounds like it's in that same neighborhood of what I discussed a while back, when it just seems like everything's like, it's almost like a dizzy feeling, but it's not dizzy, and it's like whoop, and it's like things just shift in a moment, like
okay, so that's a great, you're on the merry-go-round or the thing, and they spin you real fast, and you get off, and your vision's doing this.
Right.
There's a mixture of that kind of thing, and then there's also a warble and a shimmer. Sometimes the whiteness or the static will be predominant, as well as sort of a pinky purpley staticky haze as well. I think that's dependent on the energies that are coming in, sort of the color differences in the static, or how much static there is. I think that when we're seeing, that's an awareness actually of visually perceiving the energy that is coming in, because holy crap. My head, oh boy.
You're feeling it now?
Which brings me to another symptom. that I have been putting off telling you about. Because it sounds so weird. Okay. But I promised myself I would bring it up this time. And there's going to be, yeah, it's going to sound weird, but
you've got to bring it up because other people might be dealing with it, and it's sort of our job to put ourselves out on the limb. So if it's happening, let's talk about it.
The shape of my skull is changed. The feeling of the bone structure and the shape of my skull has been progressively changing, but has also felt rapid changes, like overnight changes.
Well, I think we actually had Mandela effect changes to our skull. So what can you get
that maybe that's it?
Yeah.
Like I'm literally waking up and it's like this is not the same skull. But there are changes to my skull, and particularly running around, right? Because this is where a lot of the energy runs through and the work gets done for me. Mm-hmm. And it really is these connection points through here. This area has grown. Mm-hmm. Directly behind my ears. So this, I can actually feel structure running along, down, and then at the base of the skull. The base of the skull is much larger than it used to be. And like the valley is much deeper in between, but that base on the two sides, this area, and this is where I've experienced a lot of this pressure over these months when the energy comes in. I experience a lot of sensation through there because I think it comes in, it's working through, and it's cycling us. And I feel the pressure on my skull. I have felt the pressure on my skull.
Let me ask you this.
Life pump.
Oh, sorry. I thought you stopped talking. It paused for a second.
Okay.
Just for a split second. What about like where the headphones go across your head? Do you feel like there's a dip there that more than it used to be? Like,
but I don't wear those headphones.
No, I know, but you know, I'm just saying
right
in
here
that
could
spot,
be
like
this.
right.
So this is predominantly more dipped.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very aware of this. Angel mentioned it was great. I got to talk to him about it. He mentioned on his show when he got hit with energy, he didn't even know what was happening. So I got to talk to him about that. And he literally woke up and it was like red.
Mile High podcast?
Yeah,
Angel?
yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah, and yeah, so there's definitely indentations. I think I know what you're talking about right here.
Yeah.
The valley that's created right here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because my son's getting it too.
I'm much more aware of this area that runs along here. Right. And it does valley right here.
Yeah.
Right. But then and then picks up, and it, like the pressure in here sometimes is so much, and it's like bulging out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's wild because we've had changes to not only the skull, but the yeah, you got it out. You can relax now. Yeah, and
I mean, to come out and say my skull's changing.
Yep, we got people in the chat that's
okay. Thank you guys.
Talking about it too. So
thank you guys. You know, to say that your bone structure is changing, I feel like my legs are longer. My calves, ankles, lower legs are longer. I feel like there's a bit of an elongation to limb possible as well too.
Yeah, because there was some brain changes as well as a result of the Mandela effect.
And the rib cage right under here. The ribs, I feel like my ribs go much lower than they used to. My ribs go down farther.
Oh yeah, they do. Yeah. They're almost touching now.
Like they used to stop here. It's like I got two more ribs legs down there now.
Yeah, we used to actually have a bigger gap right there between our hips and the bottom of our rib cage. There used to be a huge gap there, and it's almost touching now. I mean, when you've been to the site, you're almost causing it to actually touch. And it used to be a bigger gap there, and they say that's, you know, our heart's bigger, or, you know, it's just our rib cage is shaped differently now. It's just more, I don't know. It's different.
The pressure talking about this in my head, like just since we bring this up, just the pressure is a lot. So that tells me we're kind of on the money with that. I hope a few of you can relate to that one, because it does sound very strange.
Oh,
you wake up and feel like your bones are different.
Yeah, and it's only natural, I think, if our DNA is changing, that you know, our bones would follow. And I think you know, where our new you know, the new generations being born, they're much different already, but they're changing as well. So I think we're all going through this together, and it's really an amazing thing to even notice it, because I'm the most non-observant person I know. So people will point things out.
I'm the most observant person I know.
Are you?
Mind you, my attention span can go, you know, little ADD there, but I'll spot it. Squirrel! I'll spot it how long it stays in my attention.
Totally. Let's see. Zaza Band says, my brain was burning last night, and something.
Yeah, the heat's coming in again. I did. I was getting hot again. Like, and I just had to. Just talking to you about this right now, whoosh! I started getting flooded with the heat. So yeah. And last night I did experience that too. I'll tell you, yes.
Oh, very nice. So that's really wild. Let's see. I've been exhausted for a week, Leah's saying.
Yeah.
And that's been on and off for me. I don't know about your sleep. Have you been noticing being sort of having insomnia as well, like being up all night?
Oh yeah, because I'll even be tired and I go lie down and it's like my eyes are closed, but I'm there. My mind is so awake. It feels like my eyes are open with my eyes closed. That's how, like, I was trying to think of how I could describe this to you before. No, I have that too. You're describing it perfectly.
I
am in such an awareness. I am such in a deeper, and I think it is due to the meditation, the self hypnosis that I keep doing, because when it goes dark, I'm awake in my mind.
Yeah.
And I'm really tuned in, and yeah, and I'm in my room with no walls. And I'm alert, and I'm feeling these things come in. I'm feeling the sensations come in. I'm feeling the messages come in. I'm feeling the colors come. The things I am seeing behind my eyes now in these states, as I go deeper and deeper, you know, I developed sort of my own tactic for putting myself in this, and it really was using my hypnosis sessions with Michael Garber, and he implanted the words within me so that every time we go back, I can quickly go into that state. So all I have to do is, in my mind, I recreate his voice, and I can tune right into it, tune right into that energy, hear those trigger words. I can play it out. I can even use those trigger words, attach them to the intentions that I want, and then make that happen. So when I start to do this and go into that state, what I'm starting to see and experience is absolutely extraordinary.
Yeah, I think this whole BQH is such an important part of where we're at right now.
It opens up a huge can. It really does. It really opens us up. And I think that it's a tool that you can continue to use for your own development. I think once you open that door, it opens a whole other world. So yeah, I encourage, you know, and listen, there's a lot of people practicing with this right now. So, you know, even if you don't have the money, reach out, because I know that there are people that are looking, you know, for other people to help practice with this, you know, and work together with it. Again, there's some great videos. I still do my Steve Noble all the time. Like, I find if I know that these really big energies are coming in, he will usually have an updated hypnosis session, and I find it very in line with what's going on, and it helps me process those energies, allowing the best work to be done. And the tools that he has given me through the hypnosis session, again, I have brought that into my own practice. So have really been able to take the different tools from different hypnosis means and practices and words, and can reinstill them into my own process and control my own state in the direction I want it to go. And really I'm tapping into that higher self and bringing that energy in with every time I do it. And so the clarity and the strength and the power that comes with it, and the power of, and again, bringing that Christ consciousness, you know, well within full awareness, it's blossoming. It really is blossoming. And so I do encourage people to take a look at that. If you've never experienced before, you may be surprised it is not what you think it is. You are not out of control. It is not somebody just doing whatever they want while you're in a state or anything like that. There's a lot of awareness going on. And there's a lot of different ways to do this. And it is a fantastic way to tap into your higher self that you can use for yourself without even having to need necessarily somebody to do it for you each time.
Right. It's really just a guide that's helping you do it all yourself. So
you can do it yourself.
Right. And that not some fancy Nancy's actually in the chat. She said she's having hers done Friday. Friday night love stream might be a little bit earlier for you to report on that, because it does take some time to for it to sink in. But maybe on the next Friday you can come on.
You want to listen to your recording. You really do. If anybody's had a session, they haven't gone back and listened to that. Very, very important, because you think you remember everything, but you don't really. And when you go back in, it literally puts you right back in that sensation again. You're going to feel those activations again. You're going to feel that experience again. And it literally allows you to go back in that state. Just listening to it will put you back in the state. The more that you do it, right, the more it teaches you how to do it. And you can do it for yourself, and you can recognize the sensations. You can recognize when you go lower and deeper, and how to do that for yourself. So that you can make it a daily practice of your own. It's just, I think, really an easy way to go to a deeper meditative state. Meditation can be very difficult for a lot of people, especially a lot of us who are squirrel.
And I really, I really recommend people actually learn how to do the practice. And let me see if I got the link down below, because you can save money if you enter a code in. I think it's down there. Yeah, interested in learning BQH. You can go in there, and then because it's so much cheaper than some of the other things that's been available now, that like for just around the cost of having a session done, you can go learn how to do it, and then pair up with other people that took the course, maybe meet up with people and thing, and then you can still get a session out of it while learning how to incorporate it with maybe your other healing gifts or modalities that you're already using. Because I think it's a way that people are really beginning to unlock that connection. I've seen it with you and so many others that once they do that,
you've seen this process,
puts you right on track. It tells you those little tips you need, little nuggets of information you need to help you with that forward momentum in your growth and stuff like that. So
and there are there are a ton of hypnosis videos on YouTube for free. Tons of them. So even if you want to dip your toe in, that is a great way to do it.
Oh, for self-hypnosis? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it is essentially the same thing. And if you start doing that, it is essentially the same thing. And you can start to create that practice. So even if you can't get to a therapist yourself or make that connection with somebody, you can even just do some YouTube videos, because that is where I started. Over 2 years ago. That's where I started. I didn't know how to meditate, and that's what helped me do it, is the meditation and hypnosis videos that are available for free on YouTube. And there's a multitude of them. And the binary beats or frequency videos as well too.
Yeah, I actually like the pure binaural beats that you can enter that in there, and it's just the two frequencies without all the ocean music and things that. Yeah. I don't know. I don't trust that they don't have subliminal stuff hidden in there, so I tend to just
you got to find sources.
Right, you don't know who to. There's so many different channels that put out a lot of these things, and I'm like, are these government owned? I don't know.
Well, there's definitely certain ones that I find are much more powerful than others. And really do something. Like there are some that I can listen to pretty regularly where, if I do go, and this is a great tool if you're having a difficulty during the day, where you're so tired, or you feel overstimulated, or you feel anxiety, or you feel like you're not sure what to do, because it is this energy coming in. This is a great tool. I will go and just put one of these on and just give myself a break and allow it to work through. And what I've often find is if I do doze off or whatever, when I come awake, I'm vibrating.
Yeah.
Like I can feel as I'm awake, I am fully aware of the vibration that's going on. And then it carries through. So it really does do something.
That's funny that you bring that up, because sometimes I'll be asleep at night and I'll start to wake up after I've been asleep for a little bit, and I'll feel my body vibrating. I don't know if I'm just sort of feeling that, what do you call it? because I've talked about it before, where you get that really buzzing feeling, and it feels like you're going out of your body, and it can feel panicky at times. But sometimes it feels like I'm coming back from that, and I can still feel my body vibrating really heavily from it. Yeah,
Drumming.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it's similar to that, because I've listened to binaural beats like for 10 or 15, 20 minutes, and then you take them off, take your headphones off, and you can still feel your head like whoa, 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 whoa.
That's it exactly.
It's
and you feel that through your whole body.
Yeah, yeah.
You feel your whole body in a rhythmic thrumming, like whoo. That's trippy. Something else. And then you carry that around your day. So there is a lot of things you know, that we can do. But this is, you know, it can get really it's pretty overwhelming for me right now, actually. And I expected this today. So it's going to be a doozy. I'm heated up and everything right now. So I have a dream. To tell you from just a few days ago.
I love dreams.
Oh, so we've talked about before. I haven't had the last event energy dream I had was back in the spring, where I was in a room, became aware of the energy, started to feel the vibration. It literally picked me up, pulled me out through a window and up into the sky. And I could see the energy currents moving, and I was completely lucid. I absolutely felt this was it. I was vibrating so much. The energy was so intense and so powerful. I was in that process of, okay, breathe, know what you're doing, allow it to happen, and very aware of what was going on, and really thought it was it. Like, that was it. It was time.
So, I mean, you were lucid. You knew you were asleep? It was a lucid dream where you knew you were asleep, or was it like an awareness in your dream?
There was a lucidity to knowing exactly what was going on. Because the vibration and sensation, it's like skipping around going about your own business in your dream, and then all of a sudden, and it took me out of everything. And I'm in a room, and I feel it. It literally picks me up. It is so real. I am so aware of the power of this vibrational energy and the strength of it, because this is when I'm feeling that God source energy, that love and that power as well too. And it is so powerful that you do have to, like, you know, not to freak out, right? Because it's so stimulating, and you really have to allow it and trust and have faith and know that you're in, you know, God's hands, and allow it. And then it eases and it lifts you and takes you up. I have not had this happen. You know, at that time, I thought that was it. I went up on the ship. I went through that fear test and everything and blew that up. And, but then end up, you know, coming back and waking up the next day, and I was like, what happened? And I think it was a check-in point, and they left. And I did. I was feeling the energy a lot. I went to lie down. I think it was on Friday. My days. I went to go lie down in the afternoon and have a nap. And I don't even remember when I fell asleep. It was, again, when I went to lie down, it was like that awake, being tired and heavy, overstimulated, but being so awake in the mind. But I did go in. I started doing a meditation, I think, when I was lying down, and then boom, I was in dream. And again, the same lucidity. Again, I was in a room. Again, the energy hit me so hard, so fast, so powerful. It was like, oh my, like the, you know, tears of joy. It's here. Like, you know, glory be to God. Like, it's here, and it just picks you up. It's so powerful. And this was different because, again, it pulled me to the window. And I, this time, didn't go pulled through an open window. This time I went through the window.
The glass.
Like the panes. I was aware of being pulled through the physical.
Just like through the glass and the wood and all of that. Like you passed through it like you were spirit, you're saying?
Yes. And pull me through an awareness. And like, I see myself coming to the window, and it's going to pull me through. And I'm like, oh, wow, like what's going to happen, right? Because I'm literally, it's like, I'm not moving my body at this point. It's total awareness of what is going on in this energy. There is nothing else but this energy, and you're just experiencing and taking in this energy, knowing that this is what you need to do. And like, and doing it, and then you're, and I'm moving, and the window, and I see the window, I know what's going to happen, and it pulls me through. And again, I thought, I'm going, like that, I'm going. It's so powerful. And I came awake out of it.
Were you still buzzing when you woke up?
Oh yes. Oh
okay.
yes.
That's sort of what I'm talking about. It's like,
oh yeah.
It's
oh
like
yeah.
you
I'm
pull
buzzed.
part of that. Yeah, it's like you pull part of that dream into this reality now. How do you really explain that?
I was not within my. I know I was not within my. There was something going on there.
Yeah, Pira saying DNA downloads totally.
Yeah.
And you wake up and find your skull's different and stuff. So
yeah,
you
exactly.
might have been feeling that right then.
Yeah. I wanted to mention this because, back in September when I had that really hard time, and, when I came on and I had the really emotional interview, just kind of telling you guys like what I had been through, and because I hadn't had that sensation, and when you experience a few times, and that's going to be, that's my goal, that's my reality, that's what it was coming in, and I know it because I felt it. And then when you have an absence of it for such an extended time, it can be so disheartening and so lonely. And here I've been waiting to have this experience again, and I just wanted to share with you guys, what do you know, I had it again. Now it wasn't as it stopped, whereas the other one I went on this whole trek and everything. No, it just stopped there. So I'm not sure what that was about. To me it was like, we're here, like, get ready to go, which again, I feel, and I don't know if I'm going anywhere. I can't say that, as far as what's going to happen. I just know something's happening.
But I think the path outward is inward, isn't it? Like, I mean, you go inward to get out to the universe of universal consciousness and all of that.
That's
so it's a trip
that
to
is
imagine
what I've been
it.
doing. Yeah.
But it's like somebody once said we're like rovers, Mars rovers. We're like Earth rovers in our bodies. You know what I mean? These are just our sensors. And, we got our cameras, we got our microphone ears, and we're basically like these Earth rovers, and we're somewhere else, And this is like we're experiencing Earth through these vessels, but, they can't contain what we really are. I mean, not 100% of it. That's why we don't. So I totally get that. I mean, does a rover know what he is or what he's doing there? No, he's just sending that information back to whoever's at the controls of a Mars rover, So I don't know. In a sense, I kind of like that analogy because I think it really puts things into perspective that we are not these physical vessels. We are so much more. And I feel like that could have just that sensation of what you were experiencing and that vibrating could have just woke you up before you got to experience what might have been next if you had stayed asleep. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's back. It is. The other thing I've done just over the last couple days, and it was prompted into my mind of meditation. So I've been working on this as well with the self-hypnosis, is what I've done. I'm going into self-hypnosis, and I am looking for the event within.
Yeah.
Within, I'm literally, like you talk about being the rover inside of yourself. So I'm going into self-hypnosis, into my higher self, into that subconscious, and I am looking within, like in that state. I'm going within my own energy. I'm going within my own story. I'm going within myself, and I am literally looking within in that hypnotic state for that. There's a click here that to be not looking like for it out here, that it's like the start button is in here, and in that hypnotic state, literally roaming through within my inner self to find that energy, to locate that energy, and to activate it from within. What has gone along with that, well, I've been doing this process because the other night I was doing it while I was sitting right here, and I have the windows here. Now, one of the, not the last dream that I told you about where I went on the ship, but the one just previous to that where I did experience the energy is when I saw the wave coming, and it was coming southwest. It was in a dream, and this is when I experienced it. It was nighttime. We talked about it a while ago because I could see the streams of energy going up the huge wave, and it was coming in, and I was feeling the power of that energy. So in that dream, it's a high level of lucidity. So there's a very clear awareness of the sounds of what is going on. The sound of the wind, the sound of the leaves, the sound of things moving around, the sound of the air. It's very crystal clear in my mind, that experience of that dream. And I can reinstill it very easily and clairaudiently recall those sounds. Now, what I was doing the other night, and I'm sitting here and I'm in that hypnotic state and I'm looking within myself. Well, I am telling you that the sounds that I was hearing from outside while I was doing this state were a perfect match for the lucidity, clairaudient sounds that I heard in the dream. It's specific to this time of the year because of the amount of leaves that are on the ground and are on the tree. Right? We're in that in-between stage. The sound of fall, the sound of the wind blowing the leaves, how many leaves there are, how many is still left in the tree, the auditory sensation of that sound and the sound of the wind, that all that movement, bang on, bang on. So that tells me something as well too. I don't know that I'm going to have that exact experience that I experienced in the dream. I do not know that, but I do know that clairaudiently, those sounds are, I'm on the money. I'm right on top of it now. Because really, I've been waiting for the match. I've been waiting for the match.
It really takes me back to what Alex was saying yesterday about November always being super powerful. And I think a lot of that, there is a lot of sound, you know, with just like you're saying, that the sound of the leaves on the ground and the sound of the trees, and the wind starts sounding a little more whistly because of the lack of leaves on the trees. And yeah, it's really
and the night stillness, like it was at night. There's something about those moments at night.
Yeah.
And if you have lucid dreams and have those experiences of such an auditory and visual clear situation, like, you know, a nighttime landscape within dreams, and how clear and how crystal clear things can be, and how much you can bring that recollection back into your sensory system. And it's a unique experience, and it is matching now, and I've been waiting for that match.
That's beautiful.
So,
well, I'm loving it. Your videos you've been putting out are awesome. I want to tell you that it's great to see you figuring out all the programs and putting out cool stuff. Oh, yeah.
I know.
But it gets easier once you figure it out. You're like, oh, this isn't so bad. It's like anything, you know. It seems real daunting when you first look at it. You're like, oh, what is all this stuff? All these options.
It was like a foreign language.
Yeah, it is.
And I would poor Jess, what she put up with, and I would be listening, you know, and tutorials are because she do. You're great, you know. You have your patience with me, but you're like Google. Jess, mom, Google. So I do now. I realize I can look it all up myself. I can do it all myself. But the tutorials, you know, and I would start with tutorials. They're a great source. But I would be listening to, you know, when first trying to learn a new program, listening. I would be sitting here going, Jess, I have no idea what they're saying. I don't know what they're talking about. But I would listen to it again, and I would listen to another one, and then I would play with it, and then I would listen. And
it's going back and forth. It's playing with it, listening, playing with it, listening. And then you're like, oh, and then you start to understand what they're talking about. It's really like that with anything, you know. It's like, at first, it's so foreign to you. It is like a foreign language. So you don't even understand what they're trying to tell you. But if you get in there and fiddle a little bit with the program and see how things work, then you start to understand little bits and pieces, and it does come together. There is that learning curve there, but I think so many times people give up before they get over that hump, you know. Yeah, I never have either. You know, I always like, look, if all these people can do it, I can do it. I mean, what makes them any different than me? So I've always had that sort of outlook.
No, I haven't let that ever stop me. I think it propels me. Is that challenge, because I'm like, I will figure it out. I'll figure it out inside out, upside down, turn it around, and I will do things with it that you have never seen done before.
Right, right.
You are.
And you already have
And
it. I'm like, oh, she's doing so awesome with this. So
thank you so much, Shane. You know, I love you for your support. I know that there's some people that, you know, listen to us regularly, maybe a little bit frustrated with some of the topics that I'm doing right now, because you know, there is a division between two ends of this arena in the Great Awakening. Not everybody is really fully aware that is actually really under the same umbrella. They think that they're under two separate umbrellas, but they are, but there's also a larger umbrella over that. And
totally.
you know, so have some patience. Listen, I will be getting to the topics. Just like I said last week, you are not going to like everything that I talk about. You're going to like some of the things I talk about, and you're not going to like some of the other ththings I talk about. But I'm never going to tell you what to believe. This is about me connecting dots. You know, like I said, I have an eye for foreshadowing. I can see that there's something to pay attention here. I'm not going to tell you exactly what you should be thinking or believing about that, but important that I start to present all of this different information. So.
Oh, okay, you froze for a second there.
Yeah, you froze, so I wasn't sure what you were hearing. I was like, whoa, are you still there?
Yeah.
So listen, I'm not covering the topics right now that you think are valid or important to you. I just ask you to continue to love and support. Have a little bit of patience, because I will be getting around to all of the other topics that I want to cover. I am still under a big umbrella. As Sheena said, this has been a learning process for me. Sheena's seen my quantum notebooks. Okay. I have quantum notebooks full of ideas that I'm dying to get out. This has been a process. Now, some of the Q videos have just been a little bit easier for me to work with and get put together and get pushed out. Okay. Yeah. And I've used them as a learning tool, technique too. Like, let's practice with this. And they are great for that, okay? But I will still be covering your symptoms. I will still be covering your dreams. I will still be wanting to talk about all the different things that that are interesting. And listen, when I go talk about those things, it's going to be equally difficult for me, because all the people that like that other aspect are going to be like, and this is what Angel and I from Mile High podcast really have in common, are not necessarily going to be respectful that way either. So it's not an easy job I've set for myself, as far as having two ends of a scale who think that they have nothing to do with each other, and trying to say we are all connected. There is a lot of adversity to that. So bear with me in this process. Please continue to love and support my work, even though you may not like all of the videos that I'm doing. If you want, send me an email. Michelle, can you talk about this? Okay, I know that I've got some catching up to do, but it's been a learning process, and I'm getting there, guys.
Yeah, so, her email is on the screen right now, wolf.art101@gmail.com.
If there's something you really want me to talk about, then please. I will be getting to the viewer emails and answering those, and reading off the dream, all of the dream stories that I've been getting to. So those are coming up, and you know what? I'll get them out this week. Bear with me, guys.
Totally. And, you know, that reminds me back to a huge learning experience I had when I was in art college. And it would be like, you know, you have to, because it was an online course, you had to critique at least 3 other students' artwork. And it couldn't just be, oh, it looks wonderful. And you had to actually get in there and use some of the principles they were teaching you to say, you know, and actually use the literature and the things we'd been learning to point out ways that these other students could improve their work. And, you know, and then the teacher would grade you on your critique of the other one. And it really, at first, it was so difficult to hear people. And, you know, sometimes the best advice came from some of the worst students in the classroom. Like, I mean, they weren't very good at creating art.
And but they had an eye for it.
Right. They had an eye for it. And they would offer the best advice, you know, and it's like, that really got me over the, you know, you realize after some point, you're like, wait a minute, you know what? I'm going to learn and grow more from what that might be a little bit uncomfortable for me, or that I might dislike hearing, but it's actually going to make me a better artist rather than just hearing, oh, that looks wonderful. You really did a great job with this. And, you know, it's almost better if somebody says, well, you know, aren't the eyes, they're not really symmetrical. And, you know, and then it makes you look at it from their point of view, a critical point of view. And I think, you know, it's the same way when you listen to someone talking about something that you might not agree with. it still is great for expanding your consciousness.
Yes.
You know, just to consider it, put it on the shelf. We're not, you know, I don't ever tell you guys to believe anything, and you're not saying that either. Just consider it, listen to it, and you know,
you're going to be drawn to be involved in what you want to be.
Yeah.
Right. So, and that's okay. Some things you're going to be drawn to, you know, some things I am drawn to, and to work on. I am drawn to work on things that some people are not going to like to hear about it. They don't want it in, and that is free choice. But I am called upon to do work here, and I'm very aware of what that is. Some of this work and some of this information is going to make people uncomfortable. I am not responsible for their reactions. I am responsible for putting out the knowledge that I know I am here to do. And this is to provide the information so you can see, so you can start to see with a new set of eyes, a different landscape, a broader landscape, because there are a very, you know, I'm going to be getting into keys to look for. I'm going to be getting into how to spot these things around you so you can start to see a bigger picture. It's not make believe. Yeah. It's not make believe. And
it's good to have a broader perspective on things.
Yeah, and just because you say something doesn't exist doesn't mean that it doesn't, and it doesn't mean that people aren't suffering from it. There are people suffering right now. So because you don't like me talking about a certain topic, I am far much more compelled to work to keeping people comfortable.
Oh, right, definitely. Yeah, it's not our job, because, you know, really, ultimately, it's everyone's own job to, whether they're triggered or not. When you're triggered about something, it really tells you something about what you need to work on, not go change someone else so they can't trigger you. And when you think about it on that level, it's like, you know, you're giving away that power. If you're allowing, like, if a total stranger can come up to you and call you a bunch of mean names and then, like, ruin your day, you've given that power to that person. You know what I mean?
So or if the mention of one person's name makes you so irate that you can no longer listen to the rest of the information that's being presented to you because you're so fixated on that one name, then take a step back. Why? And I would say it's because you've been brainwashed. Yeah. I would say because the you know, the media and the fake guys presented a picture and convinced you of it so bloody well that you don't even realize that it's not the reality.
It's like you're mixed in with the chaos. And that's what I talk about all the time, about separating your sphere of your reality from all of the chaos and noise out there. Because ultimately, you know, you don't have to be in the middle of it, you know. It's kind of like not seeing the forest for the trees, sort of an idea, you know.
It does not, you know, the terrible things do not have to affect me on a daily basis. You know, and this is what I'm going to be talking with Sherry about tonight too.
She didn't make it in here, by the way.
Yeah, hi Sherry. So, you know, we're going to be talking about that because, you know, I find it's a common theme that, you know, if you present certain information, people go, "Oh, you're putting out fear." Well, you know what? Look in my eyes. Look in my eyes. Do I look afraid? I'm not afraid. So I don't think anybody else should be afraid. And any information that I am putting out there is not to install fear. That is your choice, because look into my eyes. I am not afraid. And I will this monster, and I will slay this dragon, and I will not be afraid. I will not be affected by its abhorrent behavior. I will slay this dragon, and I will show you all how it's done. Amen.
Amen to that. Well, lots of love and light to everybody in the chat. Be sure to subscribe to, I started to say Sherry because I'm looking at Overprotected.
Yeah, come by and join us. I'll talk to you again because I want to make sure I know how to do the stream okay. Okay. I've been doing all the recording, but I was thinking that I would just record with Sherry, but I think it would be great if everybody could be in the chat who wants to join in, because in that way I can try
What time tonight?
She said check in with her because I'm going along with whatever her schedule is. 7:30 Central Standard Time, I think we said.
7:30. So that'd be 8:30 your time.
But if she wants, yeah, 8:30 my time. But if she wants to change that at all, that's up to her. I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, Sherry's in here now, so she can verify that time zone.
I love you, Sherry.
Sherry's got such a sweetheart.
Bomb diggity girl.
Yeah. And her daughter's awesome too.
She's beautiful.
She passed on the genes too, so yeah, that's wonderful. All right, so subscribe, check her out tonight, and then I'll talk to you when we go off the air about how to do that.
We'll be talking for like another hour probably. Usual. Until I've nearly peed my pants and the dogs are on my head because I want to go out for a walk.
Gotta love those animals though, man. They bring such joy to your life.
I love my dogs. They're everything.
Okay, she's saying that's good. 7:30 Central Time, 8:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific. Sorry, 6:30 Mountain Time and 5:30 Pacific.
Yeah, we'll be talking about dreams. We'll be talking about life missions, right? And
I believe that will actually be 1:30 GMT, AM. That is 1:30.
Right.
All right, so we got all the time zones pretty much covered. You guys can do the math from there.
Getting my time zones down, Pat, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's like...
Yeah, I'm officially a YouTuber now because I don't sleep at night typically.
Yeah, that's crazy to think it'll be tomorrow afternoon for us, for the people in Australia.
No, I messaged you today. I was like, is it Tuesday?
Yeah, really. It is somewhere in the world.
Somewhere.
It is cool to start thinking globally.
In our reality, is it Tuesday today? In our reality?
Right.
Yes. Okay, great. Okay, good. I thought so.
That's wonderful. Okay, well, we'll wrap this up. We'll see you guys next Tuesday.
At 4:44. Peace, crew.
You gotta love it. And it started at 2:22 for me, so that's wild.
4:44.
All right, love you guys. Bye-bye.
Love y'all.
If you'd like to support the work I do, go to paypal.me/UOTF. Thanks.